Hello, this is Mr. Kashmir, and this is the lecture for Course Reader H. Course Reader H is our final course reader, and it is about minority-driven theater companies. The big idea with this final course reader is, today in Chicago, there are countless theater companies, large and small, building ensembles and producing work. In this course reader, you will learn a little bit about two minority-driven theater companies, Black Ensemble Theater and Teatro Luna. Both provide examples of artists from a particular minority group banding together to make sure that they provide venues for artistic expression to artists within their racial and ethnic group, and to make sure that the stories and experiences of their racial and ethnic group are being shared on Chicago stages. So, in this final course reader, rather than looking back at the 1950s to McCarthyism, at the 60s and 70s to the Black Arts Movement, at the late 90s to the writings of Eve Ensler, etc., we're actually looking at today. And rather than looking anywhere else in the country, to New York or to San Francisco, or anywhere else in the world, to Derry or even to the plays of ancient Greece, we're right here in Chicago. So today, in Chicago, we have a lot of theater companies. A whole lot of theater companies, as a matter of fact. And we have large theater companies and small theater companies, ones that have been around for a long time, ones that are new. And in this course reader, you're going to be reading about just two of the dozens, if not hundreds, of Chicago theater companies. And the two theater companies you're going to read about are both minority-driven theater companies. And when I say minority-driven, what I mean by that is that these two theater companies are run by minorities. In the case of Black Ensemble Theater, it's a theater company that is run by African Americans, and in the case of Teatro Luna, it is a theater company that is run by Latinas. Both of these theater companies provide examples of artists from a particular minority group, in one case African Americans, and in the other case Latinos. And in both of these cases, these artists are banding together for a couple of reasons. One is to make sure that they provide venues for artistic expression to artists within their racial and ethnic group. Oftentimes, minority voices get less opportunities to express themselves on stages, simply because the dominant culture tends to be the culture that writes the most plays, directs the most plays, casts the most plays. And so we see a lot of plays by white people, a lot of plays starring white actors, a lot of plays directed by white people. And so one of the things these companies are trying to do is to make sure that that minorities get an opportunity to do theater art here in Chicago. Another thing that they're trying to do is to make sure that the stories of their racial and ethnic groups, so the stories of African Americans, the stories of Latina women, are being told, because again, these stories tend to be underrepresented, not only in the mass media and in films, but they tend to be underrepresented in the theater world as well. Now these two missions, if you will, are sort of a bit general, and when you do the reading, you're going to get to be a lot more specific and read a lot more specifically about what exactly these artists are setting out to try to accomplish. And you'll read about their history and their goals, what they've done and what they still want to do. There are only 4 readings in this course reader. H1 is about Black Ensemble Theater, just a few paragraphs. H2 is the Jackie Taylor bio, and that is the bio of the founder of Black Ensemble Theater. H3 is the history of Teatro Luna, and H4 is the mission and vision of Teatro Luna. Do note that these two readings, H1 and H2, come directly from Black Ensemble Theater's website, and H3 and H4 come directly from Teatro Luna's website. So we're not reading reviews of their productions, we're not reading outside perspectives, we're reading from the perspective of the actual theater companies themselves. We're reading about what it is that they are trying to do and how they see themselves. So how should you read this course reader? Well, it's short, as you can tell, and you want to read it, I would say, carefully, and you want to make sure that you're distinguishing between the two theater companies, that you're not generalizing, and that you're understanding specifically what each group is trying to accomplish. So I would say in H1, you're looking for big ideas and important details about black ensemble theater. In H2, in Jackie Taylor's bio, you're looking for big ideas and important details, of course. In H3, when you get to Teatro Luna, you're going to see a lot of headings. So, like, for example, you'll see Teatro Luna the beginning, Teatro Luna a decade later, etc. And I want you to be pulling out the meanings from each heading. When you read about the section called Our Approach, actually figure out what is their approach. When you read the section called Our Shows, get a sense for what their shows are. So use the headings to your advantage, I would say. And then for H4, when you get to their mission and vision, again, same thing, use the headings to your advantage. When they talk about the mission statement, your job is to determine in your own words and with clarity what their mission is. When they talk about their core values, you want to be clear for yourself about what those core values are and what they mean to the company. So in each and every case, read for specificity, read for big ideas and details, and read for the meanings of headings so that you're making sure to follow along and get the important meaning out of each section. There aren't any optional pages. As you can tell, this is one of our shortest course readers, and you'll read the whole thing. As far as miscellaneous notes, not much to add here, although do feel free to check out the websites of these two organizations. The websites are where the readings have come from, and there's plenty of other information about these two theater companies, and you can deepen your knowledge and understanding. If you just Google them, you'll find their websites easily, and then if you want to get fancy and really deepen your understanding, I'd recommend trying to see if you maybe can't find some reviews of some of their performances and get some outside perspectives on these theater companies. All right, I wish you the best. Have a good one.